What's up, my wizards? It's Dev from SBMTG down there, youtube.com/magic, all that stuff, you know by now. And I've got a deck for you today, as usual. We're going to do a semi-budget deck. It'll cost you about 85 bucks on TCG Player, and it's a pretty cool one because it's got multiple infinite combos in it. I'm going to show you Jeskai Infinity today. That's right, multiple infinite combos. By the time you're done learning this deck, you'll be able to like freestyle infinite combos. For shiz, seriously. So let's take a look. We're going to do it a little bit differently today. To show you what all's in this deck, I have to just take you through the combos and explain the combos first. I think that's the best way to do this. Now first I want to introduce you to Panharmonicon. You've probably met it before, honestly. A lot of people talking about this card and all the possibilities open to us because of it. We're going to play a whole 4 of Panharmonicon in the deck because it facilitates our 2 big sort of baseline combos that we can then sort of freestyle off of depending on what else we have. So gotta play 4 Panharmonicon, and with that I'm going to show you our first big combo, and that is with Whirler Virtuoso and Decoction Module. Let's go to the graphic for that. But just in case you haven't seen this combo before, let me go ahead and explain it to you. Let's say you've got a Whirler Virtuoso, 2 Decoction Modules, and a Panharmonicon out. You create a Thopter with your Whirler Virtuoso. Look at that, a creature came into play. So you'll get 2 triggers off of both Decoction Modules. That's 4 triggers, meaning that you will get 4 energy, which is enough to create another Thopter. When you create the other Thopter, look at that, another creature came into play, so you get 4 more energy. This is enough to create infinite Thopters and infinite energy because you'll be leaving an energy behind every time you create a Thopter. By the way, it's worth noting that Aetherstorm Roc accomplishes the same goal as Decoction Module in this situation. And for us, it's on color. It's a good threat that gets bigger as the game goes on, locks down a creature. If we don't have the infinite combo, it's still pretty good. So, along with our 4 copies of Module, I'll play 2 copies of Aetherstorm Roc in this deck too, because it's basically like having 6 Decoction Modules. Not bad. But if you want to add on to this combo a little bit of flair, you know, you want to freestyle slightly, there's a couple of things you can do to instantly win the game, as if infinite Thopters and infinite energy weren't enough. You know, you make infinite Thopters, you have to wait a whole turn, and maybe your opponent has Radiant Flames or something. That would ruin your day. So let's try to win the game instantly and add on to this combo a little bit. We're going to play 3 copies of Reckless Fireweaver and 1 copy of Spontaneous Artist. Artist, we can use that leftover energy from the combo and basically give each one of our dudes haste, go ahead and swing with a trillion flying. That's pretty good. And with Reckless Fireweaver, we can deal infinite damage to the opponent because whenever a Thopter comes into play, it'll hit him for 1. So we've got infinite Thopters, infinite energy, infinite damage, infinite haste. Not bad right there, all in one combo. But there's another infinite combo in Standard using Panharmonicon that we are also on color with in this deck. Let me show that to you. The other infinite combo in the Standard right now with Panharmonicon, among others, but the other one we're using in this deck, is going to be Wispweaver Angel. Basically, if you have 2 Wispweaver Angels and a Panharmonicon and any other creature in play, then you can blink that other creature infinite times. Here's how it works. Basically, if you have a Wispweaver Angel, a Panharmonicon, and let's just say a Manic Scribe out, because that's what we're going to do in this deck because it's really fun. Then you'll play your second Wispweaver Angel. Panharmonicon will give you 2 triggers. You'll use one of those triggers to blink the Manic Scribe. You'll use the other to blink the other Wispweaver Angel. Wispweaver Angel and the Manic Scribe will come back into play. Manic Scribe will have them mill 6, and then you'll get 2 triggers off the Wispweaver Angel, and you'll just do it again. You'll use its triggers to target the Wispweaver Angel you just played a second ago, and the Manic Scribe again. And you can just keep doing this over and over. You know, blink Wispweaver, it'll come back into play, target the other Wispweaver and the second creature. Over and over and over. This will infinitely mill them. And there's other things you can do, by the way. You can use like Gibbering Fiend in this deck if you wanted to, and that's infinite damage right there. You could use Eldrazi Sky Spawner as your Manic Scribe in this situation. That'll give you infinite tokens and infinite colorless mana if you wanted that. Glintsleeve Artisan, infinite tokens. Thought Not Seer is pretty much infinite mill right there. So, you know, lots of things you can do with 2 Wispweaver Angels. You could do all that, but in this deck I'm going to stick with just 2 copies of Manic Scribe as our big instant kill with this Wispweaver Angel Panharmonicon combo. But we could also use Whirler Virtuoso, a lot like the first combo, blink it infinite times, get infinite energy, and use that to create infinite Thopters. So there's some crossover between the first combo and the second combo, or we can just completely kill them with Manic Scribe, you know, there's a lot of stuff that we can do. But wait, there's actually more to this deck. We've got some slots to fill here, and I'm going to use them wisely with other creatures that do crazy stuff when they enter the battlefield. That way, we can do, instead of, let's say we don't have Manic Scribe, we just have a Reflector Mage, which we'll play 3 of. in the deck? Well, we can just bounce everything on their side of the board, and they won't be able to play any of it for a whole turn. So that's pretty crazy. Infinite bounce is pretty cool. Clean their side of the board. That's basically a Wrath. And Reflector Mage is great by itself, so let's play some Reflector Mage. We're also going to play 2 copies of Cloud Blazer in the deck, and even though we don't want to go infinite because we don't want to draw out, we'd never want to do that. What we can do is just draw like 14, gain 14, discard down to the perfect hand, and sit pretty with our 14 life we just gained in our perfect hand, just waiting, So that's pretty good. And Cloud Blazer is good by herself. That's always nice. Good with Panharmonicon and nothing else. Just draw 4, gain 4, have yourself a 2/2 flyer. All that's nice. Just Cloud Blazer's so solid. Got to make room for Cloud Blazer. And a couple of supplemental cards to finish off the main deck. I'm going to play 2 copies of Glint Nest Crane in the deck, which sure, you can blink a bunch of times. If you got a Panharmonicon out, then its ability triggers twice. All that's cool. But mostly we're looking to try and play this on turn 2. As a good blocker, it's a speed bump. It'll slow them down for a turn, and we can dig for Panharmonicon, which we need for every big combo in the deck. We can also dig for Decoction Module if that's what we're looking for at the time. So just Glint Nest Crane, super obvious, I think. Good sort of pseudo-tutor for important cards in the deck, and is a good blocker for a turn or 2. So a couple of Glint Nest, I think, is right. And finally, to finish off the deck, 3 copies of Harness Lightning, which is our only real removal, I guess, but we are playing Reflector Mage. There's a couple of things. But Harness Lightning is just so good on turn 2 against Smuggler's Copter, small creatures, stuff like that. And in this deck, it can be pretty good a little bit mid-game or late-game because we're generating energy a few different ways, and we can sometimes get a big Harness Lightning. So that's also good. Instant speed is nice. We can just kill a small guy, leave a couple energy behind for a Whirler Rogue or whatever. There's just so many things, or Whirler Virtuoso, excuse me. There's just so many things that Harness Lightning can do in this format. And we don't have a whole lot of action that we're doing on turn 2. We're kind of naked until turn 3, other than Decoction Module and Glint Nest Crane. So I think it's good to have something in the early game that keeps the board clean and lets us set up. That was the main deck right there, and there's a lot going on, so don't forget that I always put a full deck list in the description to my videos. You can check that out in case you want a point of reference. And I don't think everybody knows that, so I just want to make sure that that was a lot to digest. You can check out the deck list. So let's go ahead and hit the lands real quick. Now, in the last deck that I did, I decided to put in Highland Lakes instead of Spire Bluff Canals because the cost was so high. In this deck, I don't think we have that luxury. I really, really think we need our Spire Bluff Canals, we need our Inspiring Vantages, because I want to be able to get set up. I don't want all of our lands to come into play tapped, any of that, because a lot of our lands already do, and I want to cut down on that as much as possible. So I don't think we have the option of just playing all the tap lands. I think it's a little bit more important in this deck to make sure that we get all the right fixing on the turn that we need it as often as possible. And here's our super simple sideboard right here. We're going to play 4 copies of Galvanic Bombardment on the board against all the really small low-to-the-ground aggro that will eat us alive, given the chance. We're going to play some Dispels in there and some Negates against Control, because Control can really hurt us. We want to be able to counter spells, basically. The Filigree Familiars, or, by the way, you could play Pious Evangel in that slot, are also against aggro, and so that we have a way of gaining infinite life without running ourselves out of cards with Cloud Blazer. But we have a way of getting infinite life as long as these are on the board, so that's cool. I like Filigree Familiar. It takes a little bit of pressure off the board, and against aggro if it happens to die, we draw the card. That's cool. But we have to blink it if we want to do, an infinite combo. Pious Evangel just has to be out. We can blink another creature and gain infinite life. So I'm not sure which one is better, honestly, but either one you could slide into the board here. I'll play more Cloud Blazers, mostly because I like Cloud Blazer against aggro. It's just really, really good. And here are your power rankings right here. A final score of 60, which may not look like much, and that's because this deck is definitely a glass cannon. A word of warning about these combos. A lot of people will tell you that, 4-card combos, and in this deck, sometimes 5-card combos, are not where you want to be. That's a lot of setup, and it requires a lot of copies of the same cards to be in your deck. Very one-dimensional plan, but that last part is where they may be wrong in this case, because this deck has a lot of different ways of assembling these infinite combos. And, wiping the entire opponent's board with a Reflector Mage, gaining a bunch of life and drawing a bunch of cards with Cloud Blazer. Panharmonicon is just good by itself, even if you're not getting infinite combos off of it. You can get infinite Thopters like 2 different ways in the deck. So there's a lot of versatility to the way this deck puts together infinite combos. So yes, even though we are using 3, 4, and even 5 card combos, which are usually considered a no-no. We have so many different ways of setting them up in the deck that it's worth it. Even though the deck is, again, repeat, a glass cannon. We take a while to set up. That's a problem against some decks. And once we do get set up, other decks like Control will have gotten enough mana to counterspell us. That's why we have all those dispels in the board. Makes sense. So again, obviously, this isn't the most consistent deck in the world, and it takes a while to get your combos set up. But it is just pure, unadulterated fun. And once you can get the combos set up in this kind of slow standard format, if I'm being honest with you, it's totally possible to get combos set up. Then you just kind of win. You just kind of win the game. So try this thing out. There's a lot of different stuff you could do with it. Let me know down there in the comments what you think about it, because I think this is the most fun deck that we've published in a long time. You can tell I kind of really like this thing. I'm tapped out for now. That's all I've got for this one, but I do have a few projects in the work. Deck Tech in a couple of days, and they're going to just dive headfirst into the Frontier format. I've been learning as much about that as I can. It sort of looks like the standard of a couple of years ago. It starts with M15 and everything on up from there. M15, Khans of Tarkir, and on up to Kaladesh, basically. So been learning a little bit about that format, and it looks, again, a lot like the big decks are Abzan and like Dark Jeskai, and a couple of decks that we saw just like a year and a half ago. So there's that. But I'm gonna put like how to build a Frontier deck. I'm gonna put that into a video in just about a week or so here. So be looking out for that too. But anyway, like the content if you like the content. YouTube spiel, sort of sprung it on you here. You should sub if you're new. And in the comments, by the way, let me know how you feel about the new setup. We got the backdrop here behind me. We got the brand new camera in. We actually had to order another camera because the first one was broken when we got it, and we didn't know that. For like a week. We finally tried to set it up and it was broken, so we had to order another camera. This is that camera, and we got the microphone set up. Let me know how all of this works for you, and I will see you guys next time. I'm Deb from SBMTG. Thanks for watching, my wizards. Here's an end card.